Well, that's just sad. Oh, now you can see me. That was a strange little thing that happened, wasn't it? You can see my drink in the middle. I... Goodness, I don't know where to begin. I think I'm gonna start by stopping the overstimulation with the music. I think the music is balanced pretty well for you guys, but in my mic, it's not so balanced. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the stream, where we will not be working on this, but we will, however, be working on this painting. So, we started on it last stream, and then a week went by, and I haven't touched it, so now we are. Hello, 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 Jay. Welcome to the stream. How you doing? How is your week? I have school starting tomorrow, and I am not very excited about it, but, you know, it'll be nice to have some structure. I don't know how school zones work for everybody else, but I'm taking 5 classes this upcoming semester, and it is going to be a busy one, I anticipate. So, all of that is starting tomorrow, and... But we are here to enjoy the final hours before the spring 2026 semester happens. So... Jay says, better than last week. Well, I'm glad that you're on an upward trend, and I hope it continues to get better and better each week. Infinity is here. Hello, welcome to the stream. How you doing? I was just bemoaning the fact that my school is starting tomorrow morning. Jay says, made another friend at D&D. Heck yeah, I'm so proud of you. I'm glad. Is this the kind of friend that you hang out with outside of D&D sort of friend, or just like you made a friend? Oh look, Streamlabs is doing the thing. I will probably have to make that, you know, a little less frequent. I put Streamlabs... It's nice to know that Streamlabs is trying to actually show up today. That's nice to know. Usually it's just bumming around because it doesn't want to do its job, but today it's actually doing it. So I'll take the win where I can get it. Infinity says the end approaches. Oh man, I didn't realize we had that many ender pearls. I guess I have ender, you know. Where did you find the end portal? Where was it? And is the dragon still there, or did you already defeat that one too? Alright, we are going to change the interval for this caught a golden moment. Click it before it's gone. And we're going to make it 15 minutes. And then we're going to make this 10-1 into 20. Confirm. And then, yeah, so now we have times at 15, 20, 25, and 30. So those automatic messages will still pop into chat, but it should still be a little easier to tolerate. Alright, I did not set up the lighting before I hit stream because it has been a crazy day. January is such a weird month. I agree. It is a weird month. We had a lot of smoke in the area when I left the house this evening to walk the dogs, and so there was a lot of just like, oh my gosh, what's going on? Why is it so smoky? Turns out there was a fire. So, got to walk the dogs in smoky air, and then it got so dark that I had to take the long way around because it's a safer way, it's just longer. So I came in with like 5 minutes to spare. So here we are. Infinity says, for some reason, the world has almost nothing in it. The end portal was just floating in midair. Fun fact, you could do skyblock in vanilla if you're destructive enough. I don't know that in vanilla you can you get rid of bedrock on the bottom of the floor? Is that possible? I know you can in the nether roof, but I don't know if that concept works in the... Can you create void in vanilla Minecraft on the bottom in the real world? I'm not sure. Any hoodles, today I have quite a bit of work cut out for me because I haven't touched the painting or my streaming setup for a hot minute. But we are going to work together and create a fun experience together. Something I noticed when I was online is that Pixel Riffs is going to be doing D&D with Gemini Tay, Impulse, and Gran, and I think Scar is there. I think that's all of the gigs in there. So, I'm very excited for that. Infinity says you can get rid of all bad rock, but it would require a different method and more automated in this case. Oh, gotcha. Alrighty. I'm trying to remember where I left everything. I don't know that I even have a plate to put my paint on. That's not helpful. Let me see if I can figure something else. Infinity says, they removed some floor bedrock in Hermitcraft Season 8, if you remember. I do not. That sounds horrifying. And definitely something Doc would do. The Bodum Hole. Oh, I've heard of this Bodum Hole. I have heard of it. Yikes. Remind me to never go bowling. Or do anything Bodum. Alright, well, I'm sure this cookie sheet will suffice. I've put paint on it before. I'm sure it'll be fine. It's just a little bit dusty. Wow. I'm gonna... Just a little bit. This was a light, just brush against it. Oh my gosh. It has been too long. This is... How much? I don't even know if I was streaming on this channel when I used this last. I think this might be from summer 2022, and I started uploading on this channel in like winter 2022. Yikes. I got it in the trash though. We are absolutely killing it today. Bodum Hole also has definitely been responsible for some scar deaths. I mean, at this point, if something isn't responsible for a scar death, I am impressed that he survived. Because it's like that man exists to die in-game. It's impressive. Alrighty. So last time, we had the situation where, let me see if I can move it into frame. Yeah. We had this contraption, and I did this, and then I set you guys on top of this, and it looked at the painting, and that is how we got the angle last time. Today, we're going to do the exact same thing, because I'm lazy, and it worked last time. So, since we're not too... I don't think I'm gonna miss too many chat messages if I do it now. We're gonna just jump right into it. He is better at survival in the life series, though. He is. He's actually won some, I think, right? I'm very... I don't know how to describe how I feel about that, but I'm glad that he's better at survival sometimes. Alright, we are going to go to a BRB screen, and I am going to adjust the camera angles and the mic. Okay. 3, 2, 1. There we go. And the only thing is I dropped my painting, so that should be good. And then we're just gonna bring the lighting up. I said up so you can see. All right. Now I can actually look towards the mic and you guys can hear me. Good to have Streamlabs back, says Jay. I agree. It is nice to have Streamlabs back. All right. I'm getting chat on my phone real quick. Dun dun dun. Is this it? Is this it? Can I view it? Can I view it? Hello? Can I watch the stream? Thank you. Fantastic. All right. Anscar was the last one to die other than the winner in the original Third Life. Die as in final death, of course. He died very soon for his first life. Yeah, I'm tracking. Good for him, honestly. Good for him. Jay says, oh, also, I tried the name tag thing yesterday. It worked great. Yeah, I'm so happy for you. I'm glad that worked out so well. Speaking of things working out so well, or rather, some things do and some things don't, my paint mug fell earlier. And I don't know where it is. It soaked everything, and now it's just gone. It's just gone. I don't know where it is. It's not here. It's somewhere. It's certainly not here, though. So I think what I'm gonna do is take my ladybug mug and dump it over there. Because I've used it for paint before. I'm just gonna put some water in there. Justin says, hi, we be here. Hello, you two. How you doing? How you doing? We are slowly but surely setting up the paint for the painting stream. Jay says, had to correct people a few times, but it was all right. I'm proud of you for correcting them. I know that can be hard. All right. I think I'm about to get an ice cube in here, but if I play it safe, like I did, we're gonna be fine. And we are. So there's a few particles, but other than that, I think this should work perfectly. Alright. What else am I looking for? Paint. So we got more of the true navy paint. And we got more of the pink paint ready. However, there's quite a bit of separation. So we're gonna have to shake it. Shake it real good. Infinity says, also, I recently beat every green level in the expert lobby of Celeste Strawberry Jam. Congratulations! I know you've been working hard at that. That's a big deal. Good job. Alrighty. So we have the paint right here, or the paint will go right here. And this over here so we can paint the painting. It makes so much sense. Okay. So we want some pink. Actually, let me see if I can angle this so you can see. Yeah. It's a little lopsided, but it should work. It should work. We got some hot pink in the house. We're gonna do some blue. Nobody saw that. Nobody saw that? That was flawless. That was flawless, I swear. Justin, how you guys doing? Anybody up to anything chaotic recently? I was telling Stream earlier that I start school tomorrow, so I'm like desperately trying to get the rest of my chaotic energy out so I can settle down and study hardcore. It'll be something. That's for sure. I am currently looking for my paintbrushes. I have like 1 or 2, but I swear I had more. I swear I had more. Like 2 or 3 instead of just 1 or 2. Did it fall? Was that one of the things that fell? I didn't think so. I'm very confused. I'm very confused. This over here? I mean, I have a paintbrush over here. I found a paintbrush. It's not the paintbrush I was looking for. Justin says we're doing good. Had a good day out with some mutuals. Nice. Nice. I'm gonna be real. When I read that chat message, I read that as Nutella. And I was like, wow, I'm glad that you got to go on a date with Nutella as your snack, because Nutella is really delicious. But in fact, you said mutuals, which is just as valid, but slightly less delicious. I found the paintbrushes. I found them. I put them away. They were right where I left them. D&D was super chaotic yesterday, especially since it was the first session of the year. Ooh, that's gonna be some fun energy. I haven't had D&D yet this year. We had one, I think, the second week of December, and we just haven't come back to it since. Because we're a bunch of adults. We're a bunch of adults with work schedules and stuff we gotta do, and it's lame. But I mean, it also means we can get our own snacks and eat as much as we want. And decide when our bedtime is and all that fun stuff. You know, there's ups and downs. Okay. So I believe where we left off last time, we were blocking in a lot of this painting. And I'm realizing I need a little more space for this painting. So we're gonna do just that. We're gonna give myself a little bit more space. There we go. There we go. Infinity says, school is likely going to be far easier than beating Strawberry Jam, but I really am not looking forward to school. Dang school thing. Are you, doing school in 2026, or are you just in general vaguely not looking forward to school? Because that's a hard relate over here. I relate to that so much. I quit school for a hot minute in like 2022 because I had a lot of issues. I still have a lot of issues, but they're actually, being dealt with and addressed and whatnot. And I was like, I'm never going back to school. I hate it so much. Don't ever let me go back to school. My parents were like, okay. We'll let you take a break, and then maybe later you can reevaluate. And I'm like, I'm never going back to school. I'll never reevaluate. This is how it's gonna be forever. And then, look at me, I'm getting a bachelor's. I was maybe a tad dramatic at the time. But I do not regret my decision to rest. That was definitely a good decision on my part. Infinity says, I also tested editing 2 videos together, and it looks like it works, which should be super useful for the really difficult / long levels. Heck yeah. Good on you. That'll be good for compilations as well. And yes, you are doing school tomorrow. I'm proud of you. Welcome back. You got this. Justin says, I miss my D&D group. We played in person, but being a DM, I know I'll find a group. Heck yeah. Maybe that'll be your, US arc. Justin Umbreon moved across the world to be with his one true love.
Now he has one goal, aside from, you know, being a good husband and whatnot. And that goal is to find a D&D group. He'll search wide and low, high and wide, for the perfect group of nerds to geek out over random things and to cosplay and roleplay into the wee long hours of the night. Join him as he battles social anxiety. I don't know if you have that, but if you do, that's going to be featured in the story. And if not, sorry for diagnosing you with that in the story. We'll take it away. Jace says, I'd love to try DMing this year, but I'd have to play with a new group. That's fair. I think you do a good job DMing, though. Ember, welcome to the stream. Ember says, howdy y'all, hope stream is going well tonight, along with the continuation of the painting. Might mainly be lurking for stream, though, because I got math homework to continue. Blech, math, lol. Yeah, I was complaining about having to go back to school. It appears you already have. So, sending all the love in chat. Everybody, if you got the emotes, send support. Send support, light glyphs, and hearts. You got this. You got this. Justin says, I do got the anxiety. Alright, alright. I just know my friends. Let's go. Alright, I got distracted just blocking it in, but I realized I should probably actually logically think about how this interacts with the world around it, you know? Because I don't think I want it to be just hanging. I think I want there to be... I think I want it to be an actual cliff face that connects with the rest of the ground. But maybe it's a little more rocky over here. And the foreground is lighter because of grass, I guess? I don't know. We're gonna do a little squiggly line here to show the difference. Oh, you have so much reflection going on. I'm so sorry. Let me see if I can fix the reflection with an angle. Oops! That's the wrong... Y'all are getting a tour of my room. Let me just do this real quick. Yeah. Wow, I think I made that worse. How can I make that worse? Wow. Good job, Lil. Good job, Lily. You're doing a job. Let's try that again. Let's try that again. See a paintbrush? Close your eyes. And open. Ah, dang it. Oh no. Huh. Well, I'm sorry about that, guys. We're gonna have some interesting angles, I guess. Unless I'm really smart and I figure this out. Haha, most of the glare is over there. I'll take the win where I can take it. Jay says, because I feel like if I play with my existing group, I have to live up to what my current DM has done for us. Ah. Yeah. I can understand that. Trying to teach when my teacher, the very good teacher that taught me how to teach, is in the room. It's like, why am I teaching? Why don't you teach? You're the good teacher. And then my teacher's like, because you need the practice. And I'm like, I mean, fair, but you're the good teacher. So, yeah, I can see how that would be intimidating. Legend of Seats, also known as Justin's wife, LZ Fanatic 12, is here. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Ember says, thank you for the love and encouragement. Heck yeah. I'm looking through chat and I have way too many Streamlabs stuff. Infinity says, I have been getting better at dream hypers, but they are still scary. I kind of like the reflection look, though, as well as the normal painting. Both look rather beautiful to me. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I'm trying to make it so that you guys can see what I see. But I'm glad that you can still appreciate the content regardless. We're gonna throw in some black paint in here. Because I don't know how else to make it dark. I really don't. So we're gonna do that. And you can't see the paint no more because I changed the angle. But that, you know, you win some, you lose some. So this is gonna be like a gradient, a steep gradient, and then it's just gonna get cut off. By the purple. And I think that'll work. I think that'll work. Alrighty, people who are taking classes. What kind of classes are we taking? Are we taking like really hard, involved classes that you're probably going to need to go to a tutor for? Or are we going to take like, you know, average level classes? You don't feel too badly about it, but you know, it's just, you have to go to school and do the classes and it's annoying sometimes, you know? Because for me, I have 5 classes this semester and I'm not feeling too poorly about any of them. I'm not feeling like stressed about any of them, but the fact that I have 5 classes, 2 of them are really accelerated 8-week classes, and I'm used to those, but I'm not used to them happening at the exact same time. Usually I split them up so that I have one 8-week and then another 8-week at separate times, but this time it's just all at the same time, and that bit kind of stresses me out. But I also have the freedom to drop classes as I need. So I'm not too worried about school this semester, and it also helps that I quit my job. But I'm also wondering, like, am I gonna get into burnout again because I'm back at school? Will I not want to make content again? I don't want to not want to make content again because I really like hanging out with you guys. I really do. Infinity says physics, introduction to physics. Oh, mercy. Mercy. I know you'll do well because you are a smart being who can do stuff like that. If that were me, I would be crying so hard because my brain does not like that sort of thing. But I'm proud of you for doing that. And I think you'll probably, honestly, you might even enjoy it. You might even enjoy it, honestly. Because you get to calculate, like, theoretical stuff that'll allow you to be even more chaotic. It'll be great. It'll be great. Justin says, not taking classes yet, but I'm going to take CNA classes in the future. Help me get my job when I'm allowed to work. Heck yeah. Pardon me for not knowing. What's a CNA? Certified Nurse Assistant? Or something else? Is it a chocolate nougat appreciator? CNA. What else starts with a CNA? Certified Nutella appreciator. I'm just going back to that over and over again. Infinity says, I don't think it will be as difficult as what I'm getting close to in Strawberry Jam, though. Yeah, You keep on saying that. I can't comprehend how that is true, but I also understand that strawberry jam is a challenge in and of itself. Infinity says, cool new academia? Oh, true, true. It could be like Little Witch Academia. Could be a nice show. Who knows? Who knows? Correct. Certified nursing assistants. Oh. Well, it's so boring when I get it right the first time. What's the point in getting it right the first time? Why not get it wrong and have a bajillion different things that it could be? Assistant. Gotcha. Gotcha. It's like CAPTCHA, but gotcha. You know? Jay says school is hard, and then I have all the things I'm learning for fun. Yeah, I think it's valid to include all the things that you learn for fun as well. Because at the end of the day, it's still something that your brain is working to learn and, you know, adapt to. You're creating synapses that allow you to do well in whatever you're learning, right? And that takes up physical space in your brain's hard drive too. So thanks for pointing that out. Thanks for including that in your message, because that's a good perspective. Even if you're not doing a class, what are you learning outside of classes? Is that easy or hard? Are you excited about it? Apprehensive? Kind of a mix of the two? The other day, I was at the park and I was painting with some friends. And, because I've been hanging out with my friends lately in real life, and that's been really weird, but also great because I'm not used to socializing in person. But I've been pushing myself to do that because of, you know, goals, and I love my friends, you know? And, I was like not in a cloud mood, but I picked a very moody cloudy reference. And I'm like, well, I guess I gotta do it, but anyways, so I spent a good portion of time drawing clouds, and then I would be like, I hate it. And they're like, what do you mean? It's gorgeous. But then I added some neon green to the clouds, and that made me happier. So I think it was just like a visual stimulation thing. I just wanted it to look more colorful, and it didn't, so yeah. I don't know what I'm doing with the white cloud here, but it felt like it should go there. Wow, that white addition just really worked really well there. Infinity says, you can look up Starfruit Supernova if you're curious what I'm doing in what I'm closing in on, that and the Grandmaster Lobby. Jay says, learning how to learn is something I'm focusing on this year. Heck yeah! Ember says, this semester I'm taking 2 classes since I can only handle 2 at a time. I'm proud of you for doing 2 at a time. That is a very heckin' valid load. But they're a math class that has more to do with the logic and reasoning side of math. Continued message below. And then additional and animation class. Ooh, I bet that's right down your alley. Although I will need a tutor for the math class because my brain and math have never gotten along, though this class isn't too hard so far for me. Heck yeah. I have noticed that students who come in for math tutoring who take that class do better in their future math classes, and they also find that once they get the hang of that class, it's they kind of have a grudging acceptance of respect for math. It's not just tears and pain like it's been for them all their life, you know? So I hope you have an even better experience with it than that even. Because that's pretty positive, in my opinion. So I'm glad that it's not so hard so far. I hope it continues to be a neutral, if not positive, experience in some ways. Obviously, math isn't inherently positive all the time, but, you know. Hopefully it's something like, I can do that. Oh no! Oh no! Right there. Right there. There's just lines. We're gonna stain my shirt, but that's okay. I already painted on my shirt earlier today. It's fine. Alright, so, the clouds look good from afar. I think I want to feather them out somehow. Because up close, it's not great. But in the camera, it looks fantastic, in my opinion. I'm missing chat. Let me read it while I look for something. Almost no classes actually been at a higher game difficulty level. That's a really interesting way to look at it. I low-key want to create, like... So you guys know how I'm a very visual, like, chart creating kind of girly. I almost want to create, like, a game difficulty level for the classes, and then you guys can, like, put your classes on that and, like, rank them for yourselves. And, like, I don't know, make it like a game almost, I guess. I feel like that would be fun. Justin says, I feel you, Infinity. I've played Soulsborne games. Infinity says, school's mainly stressful due to grade structure for me personally. Grading structure, I mean. That's, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. I can do a lot of really hard things and push myself to do a lot of things. Like, a lot. But once a grade is attached, it is really hard to disconnect from the implications of what that grade might mean for me and my perception of self. And I know it has nothing to do with my inherent value, and I will preach that all day long to my students because I want them to know that. But then I go and I see that I didn't get a good grade on something, or I missed something, and so my grade reflects it, and my grade's no longer the A or whatever, and I have to work harder. Ugh, so annoying. It's always interesting because, like, when I was working as a tutor, I would be, like, celebrating other people getting whatever grade because I wanted to model, like, it is okay to get whatever grade you can manage, you know, like, grades do not define you, I'm proud of you for trying. But then I would go home and then I would be like, okay, I know conceptually that's true, but surely it doesn't apply to me. I don't know. Maybe I get better about that this year. Ember says, thanks for the math encouragement, Lily. I hope it's good and or neutral moving forward too. Justin says, we believe in you, Ember. Heck yeah. Ember says, thanks, Justin, and same about the grade thing, Lily. Infinity says, that and information is sometimes explained in a complicated way when it is actually more simple. Yeah. That's why I feel like tutoring is pretty, like, cathartic for me. Because I'm able to just be like, okay, so the textbook sucks. Here's what it actually is. And then I get to see other people have a better experience than I did. And then it's just like, bam, let's go. Alright, I am trying to find, like, a nice transition color here so that it's not, like, such a dark purple line. But I am low-key struggling to find the perfect shade. Ah. I'm sure it'll be okay. Umber says, that game idea about our classes sounds like fun, and a good way for us to keep track of our progress as the semester goes along. Justin says, I feel the grade thing. I used to be unfairly hard on myself when I got anything below a B. Yeah. All y'all watching this know that you're more than your grades, no matter what your brain tells you. C's get frickin' degrees, okay? Obviously, aim for A's. But sometimes, honestly, I have to aim for a C to even do the thing. I'm like, okay, what if I just gave minimal effort here, and then I actually get going, and then I do it, and it's a decent job, and I'm like, oh, I can do. Sometimes C's do get degrees. Jay says, I've been procrastinating this one assignment forever, and I'm gonna try to work on it tomorrow. You got this. I believe in you. I also feel really... I definitely empathize with you about procrastinating. Some of my classes actually posted their... So we have Canvas at my school. And some of the classes already posted their Canvas shells so I can work ahead already. And usually I would be like, heck yeah, I can work ahead. But I've been procrastinating that. And you know, it's not like major procrastination because school literally starts tomorrow. Like, I'd just be overachieving. But I don't know. I think I'm hyper-focusing on the cloud too much. That was the wrong usage of that. I'm just focusing on the cloud too much. Let's put some clouds in over here. Because I don't actually want to do trees over there. Alright. So we got some nice clouds over here. Infinity says, I would prefer games designed to teach the information that would be in the classes than take a test of that knowledge to basically skip almost all of school's class issues. Yeah, if I could play a game, I would do it, but then I would also feel like I wasn't actually learning because it wasn't, I don't know, I have these expectations about like what learning is that are honestly unfair, but yeah, I don't know. I think that would be a really cool option. And Quizlet has like a good start to that idea, but actually fleshing it out would be so cool, I think. Legend of Seats says, you all are amazing. No, you're amazing. I think your name is... I don't remember if your name is published. I'm not going to say your name. How can I refer to you? Do I just call you Legend? Because I think you have Legend in both of your usernames. It's like LZ Fanatic, and then you have Legend here. I like your username here. I get it. It's cute. Jay says, grades make me nervous. Mood. Hard mood. Ember says, hey, we have Canvas at my school too. It seems like a universal college level thing, at least in the US, I think. Vanity says, mainly because I drastically prefer the way games design difficulty curves and teaching mechanics. Justin says, stream, cuddles with my wife, and tasty burgers. Again, great way to start end the week, depending on how you view Sunday. With how that is, Infinity, that's why I feel like mainstream schooling isn't for everyone. Yeah. Jay says, I had an idea for Warrior of the Waves, because learning to sight read sheet music scared me. Oh, that's very clever. So you used Warrior of the Waves as a way to, like, as a wave? No, but you used Warrior of the Waves to kind of, like, hack your desire to learn something over, you know, being scared to have the grades and stuff. That's really smart. Justin says, my sibling is now at a flexi school and is doing so much better. What is a flexi school? Yo! Let me take a picture real quick. Oh, no. Oh, no. I had, like, a gorgeous spiral in... Let me see if I can show you. This is the paint water. I had a gorgeous spiral, and then it turned kind of into this latte heart. It was really pretty for all of 5 seconds. And now I gotta scroll down. Legend says, I'm a legend. Yeah. Heck yeah. Alright, we are going to take a risk and add some shamrock green to the grass and see how that works. Because, here's the thing. This is absolutely in the boiling aisle, so there's no green grass there. However, the grass is blue at night, and I don't think red appears as blue at night, so that goes to show there might be like green tinged ground here. Though I might benefit from having, I don't know if it counts as an underlayer if I'm painting over my underlayer, but we're just gonna do a little tinge of green before we throw in the reddish blues, you know? Just gonna have fun. Infinity says, honestly, I'm not sure how mainstream schooling is for anyone. I could be wrong, but I mainly hear negative things about the methods of teaching. Not the material, mind you. That is very important. I mean, the actual way it is taught. That was very clear from your message already, but thank you for the clarification. Yeah, it's... You can have really great experiences. When I was, I think I've told you guys that I was really close to getting a bachelor's degree in education. Went all the way to basically, I only had 3 classes left, and 2 of them were working in my own classroom. I had already toured a bunch of other teachers' classrooms and analyzed their teaching style, interviewed them and their kids, worked with their kids. You know, I did a lot of the work to become a teacher, and a lot of the kids I worked with loved the teaching style, and their parents loved the teaching style, and these kids actually enjoyed school because they were given the right tools to succeed and whatnot. But at the same time, oh boy, some of the schools that I went to were just absolutely horrible, and it wasn't really, sometimes it was based on classrooms, sometimes it was just the whole school. And it wasn't based on money or anything. Some of the cheapest, or I guess poorest district schools had the best teachers, and they did absolute magic with the little that they were given or provided. And some of the most expensive classrooms had the most out-of-control kids because whatever reason. I'm not gonna make a social commentary, especially since we are so far past that time, and kids are so much different now. But yeah, it really depends. Sometimes mainstream school works, and other times it really, really doesn't. I think it's a case-by-case basis. Because for me, I wasn't doing well in mainstream school. That's why my parents homeschooled me. I would go to school, supposedly be taught the material, come home and have a bunch of homework to do, but I wouldn't have even done the stuff in class because I just didn't track it. And so my parents would have to teach me again. And so they basically went, well, we're already teaching her, might as well just teach her one time and be done with it because we're doing a more efficient job than the teachers. I kind of went on a rant there and didn't read any chat messages. Jay says, I don't have grades in my voice lessons, but I know that sight reading was a pretty necessary skill for what I'm trying to do. Ah. Yeah. I can't remember if my music lessons had grades or not. I think some of them did. but the smaller I went, the fewer grades I got, if that makes sense. Okay. What do I want with this? I think I want to do the ocean next. I think that would be a good next step for this painting. While that green layer dries. Again, this is the Boiling Isles. They have red grass, and there is some grass here. I just don't know how I want to do that, you know. Okay, so I think actually before I do the ocean, let me do some clouds over here now that this is dried. It is way too runny. I am, by the way, kneeling down now. Hi guys, good to see you. Infinity says, true, I definitely feel some classes in schools are designed better. I still have issues with the grading system that has been almost everywhere I have been. Yeah. Yeah. On one hand, you have to standardize things or else, you know, like, having... It's hard to explain. I'm gonna do my best, but I'm tired, so I might not do a good job. But, back in the day, school was not standardized at all. There was no system to anything. It was basically the kids come and do, like, they learn certain things to be able to, you know, read and do basic math and stuff. And it was originally mainly just the boys, and then girls were allowed. But a lot of times if girls went to school, they had to go after they did all their chores. And so there's this whole history with education, right? And at the time, it was just based on the kids. So the kids and the teachers did what they wanted. So if you had a good teacher in the classroom, then your kids got a really great education because the teacher had freedom to be creative and try new things and just, you know, meet their students' needs as they saw fit. So if they forgot something essential, or Billy Bob Jones came in and couldn't read, even though Sally Johansson was able to read, like, more higher level stuff, you know, the schools were able to accommodate both groups, and you were able to put all the kids in one classroom and they were able to help and blah blah blah. And then over time it got to the point where people almost expected you, school were so mainstream that people almost expected you to be educated for the first time in maybe a long time for our history, or ever in our American history. And so you started having these expectations, and then kids would come out not being able to meet those expectations. And so they started coming up with, like, graduation standards. Like, okay, in order to say that you have an education, you must be able to do X, Y, and Z. But then some classrooms kind of lied because the teachers wanted to look good and pass the kids on. And so they just wouldn't teach that stuff. They would teach whatever they wanted, or, you know, they would just say, yeah, we passed all our kids, but in reality, you know, the kids didn't get an education. And so that sponsored, okay, we need to do some sort of, oh, and this is a key part. One person would get an education in, say, Florida, and another would get an education in, like, Mississippi. And the two educations, if somebody moved, it would be completely different. There would be no consistency across the state lines. And so they were like, okay, we need to standardize this so that even if the kid's life is disrupted, they can still pick it up and get an education somewhere else. So that's where you know, standards and standardization happen, and that's why it's important, because it protects kids from, you know, the corruption from not so great teachers. But it also means that there's standardization is, you know, idealized, and if you don't follow that exact path, then, well, too bad. You know, like, that's what the experts came up with. So that's the only way to do it. And yeah, now if you're a lot faster or a lot slower, they've come up with accommodations for that, but there's just such an emphasis on standardization and this expectation that you are up to date with everybody else and on the same track with everybody else that it just doesn't quite work out. But you can't just do away with standardization either. It's complex, and I spent a good portion of my college career learning about it. So you guys got an info dump. Waha! Woohoo! Ah! Oh no! Streamlabs, you're not allowed to do that to... Oi! I don't know why it did that for you. Yeah, I don't know why it did that to you. Let me add you as a mod. That should do it. Streamlabs went nuts. It did. I just looked down and you got... Oh my gosh. I'm so sorry. I don't know why I did that. That is ridiculous. Let me read your messages and other people's messages. Alright, Infinity said, true, I definitely feel some classes and schools are designed better. I still have an issue with the grading system that has been almost everywhere I have been. I should note, I am okay with grades for final exams of classes, but grades by the learning section that affect the final result is really painful. Justin says, I really like effort grades. I don't know if that's a thing in the US, but in Australia you get 3 grades. Actual grade, like your tests, your behavior, and the effort you put in. Oh, that's interesting. That's the kind of grading I got in, like, kindergarten. Like... It was varied like that. In college and stuff, it's very much just like, well, you know, you might have put in a bunch of effort and had a great attitude, but you really sucked at this level, so you fail. That's how my experience at the college level has been, as well as in like working with students at the pre-college level. College being like university. I know for some people, college means like high school in America, but like it's high school where you guys are. For Americans, college is equivalent to university. There's not really a difference. It's just like maybe 2 years instead of 4 years university. Infinity says, the reason is that it encourages being perfect the first time since your early failures affect your final result. So in order to minimize risk, you need to avoid any failures for the entire class. Justin says, I like the effort grades because you get noticed for trying even if you don't test well. Infinity asks, is effort in terms of improvement or performance for individual assignments? Oh, I think if you tag Justin, because there's a dot in the name, Streamlabs freaks out and thinks that you're posting links. Alright. Ember says, oops, Streamlabs. Infinity says, unless I accidentally pasted something while trying to type. Infinity says, thanks. Jay says, huh? Justin says, effort meaning, like, how hard the individual is trying. Yeah. So, like, in accounting, I really struggled in that class. I was consistently failing like so many tests. I would do okay in the homework, which was my saving grace, which is why I love the homework grades personally. So I think we have a flipped perspective, Infinity. I love the gradual ones because if you're a bad tester, that means, you know, you get away with your effort throughout the semester still counts, even if you are a bad tester, which a lot of people are. But bad tester being like, you get nervous, you tend to forget things that you know, but just because of the test anxiety, you totally forget and blank out, you know. I got distracted with the texture of the brush against the canvas. Hold up. We're talking about grades. And we're talking about effort. Oh, and I was talking about accounting. So in my accounting class, I was able to get A's in my homework, but I was consistently getting D's and F's on my quizzes and tests. And so I was gonna get like a D, and if I got absolutely okay on my midterm and final, then maybe I could do like a C for the class, but I was basically about to fail accounting, and it was gonna suck. And I was really disappointed in myself. And so I got a tutor halfway through the semester once I realized that I had a tutor available to me, and brought my grade up to a B over the semester, which I'm very, very pleased with. And I was working with my teacher as well. So I was working with the tutor and I was working with the teacher. And both of them were like, you are putting in so much more effort than anybody else in this class, and you are still struggling so much. I don't know why, but, you know, I see that. And so my teacher didn't give me, like, sympathy grading, but she did acknowledge, like, you are trying so hard. And so she gave me additional support to help me do better, perform better. Because I was not doing well performance-wise, and I needed extra support. So in that sense, we kind of get effort support, but we don't get effort grades. Ember says, I'm not a great tester, but homework seems much more easier for me because it's more gradual. For my math class, it seems like there's a lot more homework than tests. So, yeah. And you don't have to, like, memorize it and remember everything. You can just, like, work. You can check your answers and stuff. You don't have to be perfect every time. You just gotta get a good enough grade consistently. And I appreciate the freedom that gives me personally. Jay says, yeah, I'm not a great tester either. Justin says, tests only test memory, not how well we know the subject, in my opinion. Infinity says, could there be a near end of class alternative to testing? Because my issue is just with grades being attached to the learning process. Once you have learned it, grading would be good to show mastery, regardless if it is exam form or not. Yeah. I like project sort of things. Ember and Jay both agree that tests only test memory. So that's what I love about projects. And I think this is something we can all agree on based off of this conversation, is that, oh, by the way, if anybody's curious about the painting process, I'm moving on to the water as we talk about projects. This final projects are what I love to be tested with, because you get to have access to all of your resources, and you get tested on all of the concepts and your application of it and your actual, like, ability to use it in a real world situation. But it's not just your memory. Like, you're able to work on it over time, and maybe you're able to get help on it, maybe you're not, but overall, projects allow you to demonstrate mastery without memorization. And as somebody with memory loss and brain fog and just really frustrating brain stuff sometimes, I really, really appreciate the fact that the longer I'm in school, the higher level my classes get, the more we just do projects. It's not even like... Accounting was the last genuine test I took, and that was a year ago. So... Alright. So with the water, it's a beautiful mix of reflections and, you know, different textures and, you know, imitating the world around it, but not actually reflecting the world around it perfectly. Because unless you have, like, a perfectly still scenario, the water ain't gonna be perfectly still and reflect everything beautifully. If there is even, like, the slightest wind, it'll be like, nah, no thanks. I think I'm good. Infinity says, a lot of classes have been about carefully mimicking what you were being taught rather than having a thorough understanding of it, sadly. Yeah, I think that's unfortunately a theme with math classes, which based off of, like, the fact that you're doing physics, you might be stuck to. A lot of, like, gen ed sort of things as well are just, can you mimic what we've taught you and not actually use it? Yeah, I don't know. It's definitely a complex topic worth discussing. And there's no one right answer. I think the answer is somewhere in between all of our answers and none of our answers all at the same time, because life be complex like that. It really do be complex like that. I really like how that turned out in the camera. Like, looking at my painting, I like it right now. But looking at this painting, I don't like it, and I don't get why. I don't understand what the difference is between looking at it in person and looking at it in the camera. It's so... I don't know. Ember says, the program I'm in mainly has had classes that are project-based. It has been a joy for me and right up my alley. Well, until the math class, which I have to take. But still, yes. I straight up, I don't know if you guys remember my streams from, like, summer of last year. Oh my gosh, it was literally that long ago. Oh, I'm sitting down. I'm sitting down. But yeah, that was a project-based class where you could resubmit the project and he would give you feedback. And that was really great because it was about your effort, yes. But it was also about your skills, but it wasn't about being perfect the first try. It was about the process. And that was very consistent with what he was teaching. And I think that is honestly something I really value, is just knowing that when my teacher says that they value something, they're gonna go ahead and value that in how they treat us as students, you know? I'm trying to move the chair. Oh, sorry about that, guys. I'm trying to move the chair so I can sit, because my joints are giving me grief right now. And I'm out of breath because I've been talking. Oh my gosh. This is what I get for only getting like 3 hours of sleep over the past 24 hours. Justin says projects are actually pretty fun, plus you get to be creative. In grade 7, I had a project about wombats. I had fun making a wombat report card just to add some flair. Yo! That's so cute. I love that. Legend has a very shocked face emoji. I think Legend just discovered the YouTube emojis. Infinity says, ironically, math is one of the better ones in that regard in experience. At least for later math. Early math is more the mimicking style. Interesting. I wouldn't know, because the last math class I remember taking was college algebra. I went on to take statistics and technically accounting, but accounting is quote-unquote voodoo math, according to my coworkers, who are indeed math tutors.
But yeah. I don't know. I always just have mimicking stuff the earlier. Infinity says, mimicking is at its worst when the class is more subjective, since the best way to be successful in a class like writing or speech is to fully tailor it to how the class teaches it. Jay says, remember to drink water. Yes! Hydrate so you don't dehydrate. Let me see if this command works. We're gonna see. I might not have put the command in. I don't know. I don't think it worked. Cheers! I feel a drill coming on. Infinity says, also for those classes, you can sometimes boost your grades if you ask the teacher to explain what you could have done better, so long as they don't actually know what more could be done. That is a good strategy. It's still, you do still get extra points with that strategy, in the sense that if you apply that to future projects and you document how you applied it, you're more likely to get more effort grade and not actual grade. Infinity says, since in order for it to be less than perfect grade-wise, there needs to be identifiable flaws. Yeah. Fun story. So when I was in middle school, I was homeschooled, and I was classically educated, and it was a really cool opportunity that I got to experience at that homeschool co-op that allowed me to, oh, that was a disgusting red. I need to mix it up. Ah! Anyways, at this classical homeschool co-op, right, I got to take grammar and literature classes that really, I don't know how to explain it, because that was literally my formative years. Like, that's how I perceive education through the lens of now. But essentially, I was able to take like logic and rhetoric and debate classes at that co-op, and I remember just, it was so difficult. Like, I would wager that my homework assignments for that co-op were just as, if not harder, than some of the stuff I've done for college. Because, and that's if I had the same skill set I do now, I would still compare that homeschool co-op as harder than what I've been asked to do at college. Just because, it's literally, they were so serious about their grading. And I mean, it was impossible to get an A or 100 on your paper, because there's always something to improve. And they would find things to improve on, and they would color code their feedback so you could improve, and then they'd find flaws in your next one. And it sucked, and it probably started to develop some of my perfectionist complex that I've had to work very hard to not be, you know, overwhelmed by and paralyzed by throughout the years. Literally took failing with every fiber of my being to begin to overcome that, by the way. Don't recommend that. I recommend just, you know, healing from the expectations and learning in a less dramatic way, as I did. But yeah, that course taught me there's always something to improve. And it means I never feel like my stuff is good enough. But at the same time, they always found things for us to improve. Like, it was always literally, it was never just some arbitrary thing. They were consistent, and I respect them so much,
even though it was such a horrible experience, I respect them so much for it. And it's such a weird, complex experience to reflect back on. But yeah. Ember says, cheers! Infinity says, worst case scenario for asking for more information is you have more information on how to get a better grade next time. Yes. Problem with mimicking, of course, is that you have more struggles learning on your own once you stop being directly told what to do. Maybe even less patient with learning on your own. Yeah. Definitely. And those are good reflections, for sure. I feel like I'm just painting the base over and over and over again. There is value in doing that. Like, genuinely, that is I'm layering the paint. I'm giving texture and value to it in the colors. But I kind of want to move on to texturing it in, like, the actual texture and not just layering the colors and giving it visual depth. I want to give it visual interest as well. So I'm just gonna start dabbing. I don't know if that worked, but if it did, it's gonna be funny. With some irony, I might have more troubles with learning after school than before I started in some ways. It is a little scary to think about. Yeah. Yeah. You win some, you lose some, but you also get more resilient. You learn to survive through it. I'm not saying that it's a good thing, but I am saying that it's not. There is still something you can get out of that experience, even if it's a really sucky experience. Justin said, it's funny, I like learning, but I was not a fan of school. Yeah. Ember says, it worked and it was hilarious, lol. Thank you, Ember. Streamlabs caught a golden moment. Clip it before it's gone. That is why I put the Streamlabs on the timer. I was not expecting it to just make it. I gave it a job and it's actually showing up for work now. I'm so proud of Streamlabs. That is something I've experienced. Like at for church, for example. Y'all know I'm religious. I go to church on Sundays, and for the longest time, and I'm talking like the past 6 years, I'm gonna say, I have, if I go to church at all, just not participated, made eye contact, interacted with anybody, or really tried to be physically there. Like, I might as well have just tuned in from my room, but I chose to go because that's important to me for some reason. You know, going in person is important to me for some reason. And, there was a reason for that. I was really unhealthy physically and mentally and emotionally, and I needed time where I had no expectations and no demands placed on me when I went to church, so that I could learn to just, you know, church is there for you to spend time focused on God, but it's also there so that you can connect with community and praise God as a community, right? And the thing that got me involved in community was just getting a job and feeling useful. Like, I started actually attending church really consistently on time rather than, well, you know, it's fine, I don't like the music anyways because it's so loud. I got a job that required me to be there for the music, and it's allowed me to increase my sensory stamina over time because I was able to have a job that impacted my direct experience with the music. I was able to see, like, oh, okay, when I press this button, the music gets louder. When I press this button, the music gets quieter, and we want to keep it within these numbers range. This is the science behind those numbers. It's not going to damage your ears, even if it's overwhelming for me. And, you know, the sound people take into account how other people are sensorily, if that's even a word, experiencing
the music and the audio. And so showing up and being there with a job actually ended up helping me because they started to get real-time feedback on how I liked the audio and stuff. And I forget where I was going with this. I think it started with giving Streamlabs a job, and now it's actually doing what I required at the beginning, even though it was less of a job at the beginning. Like, you'd think lower barrier to entry means it would do the job more consistently, but no. Having more expectations means that it actually did the job, and sometimes that's how it works. But also, sometimes having a lower barrier to entry is better, because demand avoidance is a real experience I have, and it's not great. With school and chores and, like, personal hygiene, at risk of being TMI, like, I need to tell myself it's okay if I don't do any of that, because then it kind of disables the perfectionist spirals. I still get perfectionist about things, but I'm not in the spirals, because I'm able to go, well, it's okay if I'm not, and then I'm like, oh, but I actually want to. It kind of tricks me out of the spiral, and then I go, well, I do want to take care of myself, so, you know, and then I actually do it for the right reasons. So, I don't know. I think brains are interesting. Infinity says, I find myself giving up so easily when I'm not forced to do something. Jay says, there's this concept that I'm mostly heard programmers talk about, but could be in other fields, called tutorial heck, where you, tutorial hell, where you get stuck following tutorials and struggle building your own projects. Infinity says, Justin, same, but I feel like my energy for learning has gotten worse and worse over the years, in reference to, I like learning but not a fan of school. Justin says, it takes time, Infinity, in my experience. I started with learning on special interests, say cool Pokemon facts, and went from there. Infinity says, yeah, but I find myself looking up the answers to puzzles so quickly after I start attempting them. I have trouble committing to actual problem solving rather than passive knowledge. Ah. Yeah. I feel that. I don't know that I really have anything to say about that, but going to what Jay said, and what Infinity said before, tutorial hell, where you get stuck following tutorials and struggle building your own projects. I feel that really hard when it comes to making content for this channel. I have been watching so many, like, how to, you know, blow up on YouTube, how to do X, Y, and Z, how to get your watch time up, how to, you know, turn your viewership from 0 to 75 viewers, even though I'm really happy with the 9 that I have on average. I'm so glad that you guys are all here, and I'm glad that this is, like, a small enough stream that we can have real conversation like this. It's not just everybody's trying to say something and get what they want to say in. Like, I feel like that's not really my style, and I would really struggle with that level of connection or lack of connection. And yet I'm still watching so-called tutorials on how to hack YouTube instead of putting in the effort. I am putting in the effort, but I don't know. It's definitely easier to think about how I would do it better and let other people do the thinking for me than actually do the thinking. But I think that's also why AI has gotten so popular, because we don't want to do the thinking when other people have already done it. Even if we value thinking for ourselves and all of that, there's also this value in efficiency and resourcefulness, and that's good. That's really an important skill, but you also have to just learn how to fail and learn and figure things out on your own, because it's an important skill to be able to adapt to things like that. And it's hard, and I don't know how to really develop it except for force yourself to do things you don't want to do and burn out. And that's not really great advice, so I'm not giving that advice. Don't do that, guys. Legend says, self-discipline is so hard, but definitely baby steps. Infinity says, tutorial hell sounds like school ends up affecting my overall learning experience. Jay says, I'm kind of stuck there with coding stuff right now, but I'm trying to break out of it. I do think, just based off of the way that you guys are putting heck in parentheses, I think I'm pretty sure I only have like certain words blocked in like phrases, but it might be automatically canceling the word hell. Tutorial hell is totally fine. It's not a cuss word, you're fine. But I think the automated system, like we were saying earlier with like standardization, in order to make it the best that I could, it unfortunately doesn't allow for exceptions like this, where hell isn't a bad word. It's just like a location, you know? I forget if I read Jay's message, so I'm going to do it again if I have already. I'm kind of stuck in tutorial hell with coding stuff right now, but I'm trying to break out of it. Okay, that's good to know, lol. Yeah, so if you tried to send a message and it got deleted, I'm sorry, that was an auto mod thing. Sometimes on previous channels, I've had people join in live streams and just start cussing up a storm because they're like a program bot that wants to do stuff like that. And sorry guys, my niece is watching. Hello niece, by the way. Love you. Hope you're having a great day. Happy New Year. Okay, so we've got, you can kind of see the reflection vibes. There's some texture. I want to add more texture. We're going to add some warmer colors into this texture. And maybe some lighter colors. Lighter, warmer colors. Still quite dark, though. Legend says, like the water dam sort of thing. Yeah, like, I want some dam fries from the Hoover Dam. That's really funny. And it's technically not inappropriate. But it is. But if you spell it right, it's not. Anyway, how's that looking? I think that's good. I think that's good. And then, depending on where it is on this cliff face, I can do lighter or darker. I don't know. Jay says, I've been doing the thing with the parentheses the whole time I've been on this channel, lol. Oh no! Infinity says, what would happen if there was a cussing bot, but they was spamming the fake parent versions of cusses instead? Like, gosh darn it! Yeah, I like to go southern with it and just be like, oh, you fudge and gravy stuffed nugget. Ugh. Mari, hello! Oh my gosh, I completely missed the notification. Hi! And then chat says, Mari, hello! Mari, hello! Oppa! Guys, I think we might like Mari. I don't know. Just a hunch. I think we might be fans of Mari. Hi, Mari. How we doing? How we doing, celebrity? You may be wondering, when did I get celebrity status? You've apparently always had it. Infinity says, it is scary how effective mimicking is with schoolwork. Yeah. But also, I'm not gonna complain. I put forth so much learning effort with my first degree, only for it to absolutely fail. So I am unashamedly taking the easy route out this new degree path I'm on. I'm making sure I don't cheat. If they expressly tell me not to do something, I don't, I follow the instructions. But also, if they allow me to have an open book test, I'm gonna prep my answers ahead of time. I think that is... I don't know. If it's legal, I'm gonna take full advantage. If it's not legal, I will do my best. But I'm gonna heckin' do my best to take full advantage of all of the resources I have available, even if it's not my favorite. I don't know if that made any sense. Mari says, "Aw, shucks." Infinity says, "Have you heard of Omori?" Mari says, "I know that the character with my name is dead. I think." Ah! Spoilers! For a game I will immediately forget about. Alright. We are gonna go for some grass texturing. That's right, it's Minecraft. Dun dun dun! Also, hi Mari, how you doing? Are you in school? If so, when do you start school? This week or another week? And if you're not in school, what are you up to learning? We've been talking a lot about the learning process and mimicry versus actually mastery and learning to learn, because that is a thing. It is indeed a thing. Yeah. Justin says, "The fake parent swears is something I've gotten good at over the years. Will help when Legend and I have kids one day." Aw, you guys are just so cute. I will say you in particular are very good at the fake parent swears, because you just naturally, if I see somebody say, "Oh gosh, heck," I'm like, that's Justin. That's immediately Justin. For all I know, you cuss like a sailor in real life, but for my streams, you are the most wholesome, like, I've never heard a cuss word in my life. And I appreciate that. Thank you. Omori is great. Dark and sad, but great, and also spoilers. Just like... forgot. Jay says, "So many games I need to play." Mari says, "I know it's dark, but other than some inside joke about stairs, I have avoided it." I'm so perplexed right now, but I'm glad you guys are all in on this reference. Oh, Amori. Oh, I know. I blocked it out. Infinity, I already blocked it out. I think you should... Was that last year or the year before that you showed me that? And I've already blocked it out. You said the stairs thing, and I instantly remembered. Oh, no. 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 Mari says, "To answer Mildred Featherwile's question, learning-wise, Oh, we're back to this. Learning-wise, I've been considering taking up Spanish again. Not a big priority, though. Also been teaching myself some better art techniques. As a Spanish tutor, or former Spanish tutor, that is, I absolutely suggest taking up Spanish again. And, I don't know how to suggest myself without absolutely doxing myself to people. But I know a good tutor. Her name is my legal name.
Speaking of doxing, I've been thinking about getting a P.O. box, and that would absolutely narrow down where I live down to the county. And I'm not sure I'm ready for that, but also I want to do P.O. box stuff eventually. So I'm like playing with it. I'm like, I'm trying to prepare, you know? I don't know if you guys can see the effect that I'm having, but yeah. Justin says I've been playing some cozy games lately to prepare for when I launch my Twitch. Been playing Kind Seed. It's similar to classic Harvest Moon with a heavy focus on the child raising. Ooh. Justin, I've been seeing so much content about Twitch since you announced that you're gonna do your Twitch sooner than later last week or earlier. I guess earlier this year isn't a lot of time. But you know, I've been seeing a lot of Twitch stuff and I'm like, I miss the Twitch stuff. They have such a better live streaming capacity. And I low-key want to do some streams over there. But I also don't want to abandon my YouTube community. I don't know, I want to yes and, but I know it's not realistic while I'm doing like 5 classes this semester. But if you are launching your Twitch, we could totally, if I do some Twitch live streaming and I just like do it while I'm doing these YouTube live streams, we could totally duo stream that way. And that would be really fun. And then because I am live streaming on YouTube as well, the Twitch stuff you guys should be able to watch my stuff as well on YouTube with Justin. But that would be really fun. I don't know if you would want to do that, but I've been thinking about it. So I wanted to let you know about that. Because Twitch is Twitch is really good about live streams. That's one of the things it has better than YouTube. Probably because that's the only thing. It really min-maxed the live streaming in favor of anything else. Mimicry, Infinity says, mimicry might actually be more effective than actually learning when it comes to classes in my experience, since actually learning means early assignment failure and thus lower grades. I try to do both, but it is tricky. Yeah. Ember says, don't dox yourself, Lily. Infinity says, I will dox Lily, lives in the Milky Way galaxy. Actually, I'm allergic to milk, so... Justin says, I'll do one better. Lily lives on Earth. Mari says, oh my gosh, Nerdy Verge, Aunt Millipede from Der Year chirped as my Spanish teacher? The scandal. Infinity, oh, how could you? Justin says, I'm down for a dual stream sometime. Sounds fun. Heck yeah. I think YouTube is slowly getting used to some of the stuff, but like Twitch is so much better in so many areas, I feel. All right. I did that, and now I'm going to brush it out. Oh, I did it too fast. Oh no, now it just looks like a pink blob. I mean, it's cute. Kind of. Ah. Let's add some blue. Mari says, I can no longer hear the word Twitch normally. I just instinctively think of the Transformers character. They have a Transformers character named Twitch? What? Jay says, I'd love to start doing karaoke streams again, but I'm busy, and I'd like to have PNG YouTuber or something when I start again. Mari says, Phantom Brain is a serious problem. It can be, yeah. Jay, I think the PNG YouTuber would be really cool.
I've recently gotten into Iron Mouse clips, and I really like the VTubing opportunities that she shows off. I'm realizing that's just like a purple line. Ah. That was a loud noise that I did not intend. What time is it? 8:10. Okay, I still have some time before bedtime. Yeah. Ember says, you can say that again, Mari. Now that Stranger Things has ended, the Phantom Brain is off the charts for me now, at the moment. Oof. So, if I showed you Christmas lights, would that mean anything to you? If I counted up to 12, but I stopped at the number before 12, what would you think of? Infinity says, I had the idea of being a PNG tuber, but the PNG is a possessed husk of whichever game character I'm playing. Jay says, also, IDK how to make a PNG tuber. I don't know, but my friend Shadow does. You guys know Shadow. Shadow is part of the community. She is a really great friend, and she's really skilled in stuff like that. I wonder. Can I ask? Can I ask her? Are you available to chat on in-stream chat about PNG tubers? We shall see. We shall see if we can summon her. Ember says, yes, it would. I'll never see Christmas lights the same again. Also, the number 11. Infinity says, possessed by the infinite void, of course. Mari says, how were the stages of grief of not having a secret bonus episode? You doing alright after that, Ember? Oh, that even came to me, and I don't even do Stranger Things. Even I heard about this secret episode. How are you doing? Are you okay? I know the answer is probably no to being okay, but like, based off of your not okay baseline, are you doing any less okay? Mars is... Oh, nope. I just don't know how to read. That's fine. That's fine. This is a lot of grass. This is so much grass. I was going through old content and like notebooks and whatnot from when I was like 8 years old and in my first art classes. And there's this one picture that I was drawing, and it was a tracing thing where we were just like maybe if I start down here with the extra paint, it'll make it a little better. Yeah. So now it's not so extra. I can pull it up. Let's go. Let's go. Anywho, so I had this tracing exercise I was supposed to do to practice my hand-eye coordination, like not knowing how to do it already, but just, you know, having fine lines and figuring out when to make the pencil do certain things to have a certain effect and whatnot. And in my notebook, it said, do I have to do the background? Do I have to do all of the background? Because it was like a really detailed sketch, and I did not want to do it. I did, in fact, have to do the background. I got points off for not doing it. But I never did anyways, so. Oh well. Infinity says, the secret episode will exist in fanfiction. Justin says, no secret episode. That's where you find a good fanfiction and make that canon. Ember says, I totally didn't go onto Netflix to see if it was there, Mari. No! Oh, bless your heart. Infinity asks, is Ultrakill fanfiction of a fanfiction? I don't even know how to begin to respond to that. I don't even know. Mari says, man, Ember, this conversation sure is turning me upside down. Rolls a d20 with the energy like people did bottle flips in 2017. Maybe we should listen to some tunes. Pulls out a Kate Bush CD. I don't really listen to that kind of music, but whenever I hear Kate Bush, it makes me want to paint a bush so that we can run up this hill. Does anybody suddenly want to run up this hill? I feel like it would be a really great view at top. I'll be running up that hill, running up that... I don't actually know. That was a bit, but it's a genuine bit. I don't actually know. Ember says, Mari, please, lol. But I have been listening to the song Upside Down lately. Ooh. Running up that hill. Maybe there is a secret 9th episode, and it's just not released in our universe. Maybe you have to go to the Upside Down to get it. Maybe it's an audio release. Infinity says, I went to Ultra Dash down the hill and into the horizon. Ember says, thanks, Stranger Things, for reminding me how good Upside Down is. The song is, even though I listened to you years beforehand. Infinity says, beyond the horizon. Mari says, honestly, I almost always only draw the background or draw nothing but the characters. Yeah. Well, it was just like a sports car, which I was already not interested in, but I had to draw because she wanted me to turn off my art brain and just learn the mechanics, which as a teacher, I don't know that I agree with that strategy. Infinity says the Upside Down was destroyed, though. That's what they want you to think. Just like they want you to think there was a moon landing. Everyone knows the moon is fake. Wake up, sheeple. Everyone knows that there's no other planets in the solar system. That's just something they came up with. What if I put... So I don't know if you can't really see the texture here, but these are definitely like looking like sound waves here. What if I put in a Spotify song code for each of the blades of grass? That would be fun. Would be what I would say if I were a digital artist and could do that without crying. Infinity says, a hat in time, blue time rift. Mari says, if only I could make a deal with God, and I'd get him to swap our places. I'd be running up that road, running up that hill, with no problems, levitation increases. Everybody knows the moon is made of cheese. Also, maybe the 9th episode does exist in an alternate universe. See? Infinity says, can you think of a character more powerful than Bill Cipher? Yes. Eat a clawthorn. Mari says, imagine they try to go to the Upside Down, but instead they get stuck in Pixar Inside Out. That'd be great. That'd be great. No wonder what's his name came out. He was Inside Out. Justin says other planets were created by big space in order to make us think that there's no aliens. Wait, what? No, you're onto it. You're onto it. Can't hear the word Soundwave normally either. That is also a transformer. What? Infinity says, with infinite universes, it isn't just might, it is guaranteed eventually in many variations. So the real question is not, can you get to this, but rather, can you find the exact universe with the correct 9th episode that you would want? Look at that texture I'm giving that. Oh, I love it. I love it. I love the texture. Be running up that road, be running up that hill. I don't remember the lyrics even though I just read them from Mari's message. If only I could make a deal with God, I'd get him to swap our places. I'd be running up that road, running up that hill, with no problems, the levitation increases. Now that's stuck in my head, guys. Why would you do this to me? I obviously didn't do it to myself because that would be taking responsibility for my own actions. And why would I ever do that when I have chat to blame? It's always chat's fault. Ugh, I can't believe you would do this to me. That's okay, I have my own powers. Okay, Google, play Stranger Things Running Up That Hill. Alexa, play Running Up That Hill. Infinity says, aliens are real. They just don't have physical bodies in our reality, but they can interfere. If you had a way to navigate infinite realities, you could. Ember says, well, first you'd have to find the universes that A, have a 9th episode, and B, watch each episode until the one that suits you pops up. Jay says, I'm back. Welcome back, Jay. Ember and Justin say welcome back, Jay, as well. Ember says, so true. So very true, Infinite. Infinity says the aliens may or may not also be humans from another reality. Yeah. How did we get on aliens? We were talking about school and standardization. And I know how I would get to aliens from that, but we didn't. It's not the fact that we landed here. There are infinite ways we could have landed here. It's the fact that I can't believe we got here the way that we did. That's what's baffling me right now. Could make a deal with God and get him to change our places. You got it stuck in my head. Ember says, I don't know, but it's a fascinating path that we did take. It certainly is fascinating. Infinity says, there might also be a reality where all the events of Ace Attorney happened. That is very true. Indeed, it is. Oh! Ow! Yeah! So, at the beginning of Streamlabs started making all these messages, right? And it's like, hey, want to do X, Y, and Z? And then it gives you a link. But I just ignored it because I was waiting for you guys to get in here. And then when you guys got in here, we got distracted by talking about Kate Chopin music on Stranger Things. I don't know. Any hoodles? Justin. If you guys would like to submit a meme for the try to make Lily smile challenge, feel free to press that link. And if somebody would like to share what you're proud of, there's also a link going around for that as well if you're patient. So that's what that's about. Future streams will feature your memes, your content. Let's go! Justin says, Infinity, did you wish everyone a Merry DL Sixmas last year? Infinity says, no, just for Miles Edgeworth. Poor man has a fear of elevators. Infinity, did we headcanon that his father is an elevator? Was that what it was? Infinity also says, keep in mind there would also be infinite realities that are nearly identical to ours, so navigation is even more important than you might think. Yeah. Get in to swap our places. Infinity says, I cast change protein mass. I think a lot of gym bros would like to have that power. I think a lot of gym bros would like to be able to change their protein mass. Maybe just their muscle mass, though. Infinity says, no, Edgeworth's father is not the elevator unless the elevator is haunted by his dead father. Ah, that's what it was. Oh, by the way, I have recently gotten into using my Switch to try and tolerate video games better. And I have Ace Attorney on my Switch. And one of these days, I'm going to figure out how to stream on YouTube with my Switch. I have everything. I just need to remember how I did it in the past. Infinity says, no, not protein. Proton. I am ending the world. Oh, my bad. Jay says, should I play Ace Attorney when I have the resources? I think it's a really great game, worth playing, and you would probably enjoy it, but you might also just equally enjoy a Let's Dub of the gameplay. It's rewarding to do the game and figure it out, but if you're like me and just appreciate the story, sometimes it's just nice to have it as like a movie that you're watching as you clean the room. I don't know what I'm doing here. I don't know what I'm doing with this painting. I know I'm following the steps that I told myself I would at the beginning. We do the sky, the water, this, the cliff, and then the tree. And we're following that. And we are in the process of just giving this cliff some texture. But I gotta say, I don't know that I like the texture that I'm giving this cliff.
I just don't know. Yeah. Justin says, you should, Blue Jay. It's really good. Lots of puns in the names. Oh, it's so punny. I love it. I love it. Infinity says, I watched other people play, but mainly because I'm bad at not spoiling myself. Yeah, I'm pretty good at not spoiling myself because when I receive spoilers, I just forget them. I just forget them. It's fine. I don't need to know things. I'll experience them for the first time many times. Because hashtag brain fog, memory loss. Yo. It can get frustrating, but I am definitely going to use it to my advantage when I can. Get him to swap our places. Jay says the early Nancy Drew books became public domain this year, and I've been thinking a lot about the video games a lot recently. There's a Nancy Drew video game? Oh, what? I want to play that. I want to play the Nancy Drew stuff. My favorite author was Nancy Rue, and she really liked Nancy Drew. She didn't do any, like, mystery stories, but, I had Nancy Drew on DVD, and I remember watching it on my laptop growing up. Because my laptop had a CD player. Infinity says, I never forget. Infinity says, also, you can use Ace Attorney as a video format with objection.lol. Huh? Ace Attorney as a video format with objection.lol? What is that? And why is Streamlabs... Why does Streamlabs have the same thing? Like, I'm so confused. I'm so confused. I have it on a 5-minute interval. That was not 5 minutes. That was like 2 minutes. Ember says, whoa, Nancy Drew game. Jay says, yeah, all the Nancy Drew games are on Steam. Ooh, nice. Infinity says, I think there's also Ace Attorney online if you like chaos. I do like chaos. I don't know that I can handle your brand of chaos, but I do like myself some chaos. I like chaos light. Ember says, I've seen videos like that, Infinity, with Ace Attorney and Objection. You're gonna have to show me this after stream, like Discord or something. Because I am not remembering this. Unless you're talking about, like, memes from Objection, in which case I know what you're talking about. I literally have taught a class where my students made memes like that. But, I don't know. Justin says, go drunk, Streamlabs, you're home. Infinity says, yeah, people have made a way to make custom Ace Attorney court sequences which you can use for memes. Oh, I know what you're talking about now. Oh, okay. Okay, I remember. I remember. Okay. Yeah, I'm tracking. Yeah, I'm sure it... I'm so glad that you guys are patient with me, because I know you guys have told me this stuff like 5 million times, and I just forget every time. I'm sorry. Ace Attorney Online is basically real-time chat where the chat gets to put Ace Attorney characters. You could also spam objection voice lines, hence chaos. Justin says the Ace Attorney anime was alright. I did like the anime exclusive cases. Oh my gosh.
Unbeknownst to most of my students, most of my strategies for tutoring are based in video games. There's this one strategy where if I have a student who is struggling a lot with testing, and I notice that they're mainly just like overthinking things and they just need some confidence, I'll teach them to be their own ace attorney self and to cross-examine their answers. Because if you cross-examine your answers, while you're studying at least, if you cross-examine your answers on the test, it's kind of 50-50 to be honest, but while you're studying, it makes for a really efficient, like, okay, this is the right answer and this is how I know why. And it gives them a good framework to, like, I don't know, learn the stuff and know that what they're doing is correct and be confident instead of just, I don't know, I question myself. I don't know why it's right. It just, I was guessing. So I teach them to become their own ace attorney, and they usually don't catch on to the fact that it's straight up stolen from a game. It's great. Ace Attorney anime was alright. I did like the anime exclusive cases. Ember says, yes, Justin, Streamlabs needs to go drunk and you're home. Infinity says, wait. No, that's totally normal grammar. Everything's perfectly fine. Infinity says, imagine an Ace Attorney D&D campaign using Ace Attorney Online. That sounds like absolute madness. I think... Justin, weren't we planning to do that before I went on hiatus last year? I think that was a thing that came up. I genuinely... This feels really familiar. Didn't we talk about this? Haven't we made plans for an Ace Attorney D&D? And then also, like, I think Shadow was gonna do an Owl House D&D, and you, Justin, were gonna do, like, the Ace Attorney or something? The chaos of that infinity, yes. I'd be down to do something like that. I think that would be very fun. I'd make for a great series. Guys, we're at the bottom of the painting when it comes to grass. I've been painting grass for so freaking long. Infinity says that, wait, was actually just intended to segue into the Ace Attorney Online thing. Ah. Gotcha. That's a good segue. Unfortunately, I missed it and ruined the moment. Oh well. Okay. Oh, we're getting to the end. We're getting to the end. We're gonna throw in some pink. We're gonna throw in some pink. We're gonna throw in some blue. And we're gonna throw in some red. Just randomly. It's big enough that we can see the individual strands now. Or at least close enough. It's in the foreground enough that we can see the individual groups of colors now. It's not just fields of different colors. Legend. Did that just happen? That's quote material. Add quote. Justin, I got a vague memory of Ace Attorney D&D. Ember says, and I am getting to the end of finishing up my math homework for tonight. Yay. Heck yeah, Ember. Let's go. It's a you, the math conqueror. Wahoo! Ember's too cool for us. He finished it.
They did all of the math. Ah! I can't handle her coolness. If I remember, you have any and all pronouns. I'm sorry if I got that wrong. I do remember reading that, though. I just might be assigning that to the wrong person. I did eventually get your pronouns right if it's not any and all. I just don't know which one. I'm pretty sure it's any and all. Justin says, yay for nearly being done with homework. Infinity says, imagine if Kay Faraday had nuclear powers. No. 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 Okay, put that down, Kay. Kay, stop it. I'm gonna count to 3, Kay. 1, 2, no! And then the end game sound. I think that's basically how it'd go. Alright, so now we're getting to the tree. This tree. Ah. We need the tree to kind of pop out a little bit better. Any and all, that's right. Thank you for remembering. Also, I, again, am too cool for y'all. Heck yeah. Yay! I finally remembered the Ember pronouns. His pronouns are those to remember, as are all y'all's. Witchoo! Okay, we are going to bring this tree way down and kind of bring it over this cloud. Why? Because I feel like it. That's why. Also, I don't like some of the grass. Her theme, says Infinity, would switch to one from a certain other game. Dun dun dun. I got a text from someone, but I can't watch it right now. Ka-chow! That's kind of okay. Okay, with nuclear powers would be a fan fiction to write if I knew anything about nuclear physics. I think Infinity's gonna have you taken care of in about 2 semesters then. Ember says, we used to do pronoun checks, but those kind of stopped. So, oh true, let me see if we have pronouns. Do we have pronouns? Pronouns! Pronouns check! Ah. No pronouns. Why are all my commands dead? That's a shame. What if I just make this tree really pale? That's what I did for my wall, and I really like that. So... yeah. Really pale tree. We got a tree. We got a tree. Justin says, me, he, him, legend, she, her. Let's go. Legend says, yes, I'm she, her. Thank you for sharing your pronouns. My pronouns are she/they. Pronoun check just means we are able to understand how we can respectfully refer to you online. Because in real life, you know, it's still good to do pronoun checks, but especially online where you just, there's not a lot of indicators online. And we want to be respectful. So that's why we do it.
So, bam. Legend says, they coming. Jay says, mine are he, they. Legend says, yes, the tree needs to be lighter color to pop. Thank you, friend artist. Ember says, they, she, he for me, but I'm fine being called all three at any time. Coolio. Thank you for sharing, y'all. Infinity, do you have any pronouns that you would prefer we refer to you with? Are you a he, him, she, her, they, them, any and all? Doesn't even have to be accurate to what people refer to you in real life, just so that we can respect you. And so that you know, with a little more context, when we use a pronoun, I think they're talking to me. Alrighty, I think the tree is doing a lot better with this lighter coloring. I really like the stripiness of it, actually. I don't know if you can tell. But we've got some stripiness happening. Infinity C is an empty husk being puppeteered by a human behind the screen. There is no identity, just an endless abyss. In that case, it. Alright, we got some awkward angles here. Trying to reach where the tree reaches. Did we get a Mari pronoun check? I don't know if I'm covering the screen right now because I'm trying to reach. I am kind of. Sorry, guys. Ah. There we go. Alright. It took a lot of effort to reach it, but I eventually made it. I made it. Alright. So this is a very skeletal looking tree right now. It's doing okay. But I believe... Oh, I figured out why Streamlabs is figuring itself out. I figured it out. I gave it 5 variations to work from. That's why it's doing that. Okay. Okay. I can do that. Jay says, I like how the tree is lighter than everything else. It looks like the sun is rising. Yay! That's kind of what's happening. I don't know if it's rising or setting, but I like that interpretation. That matches. That works.
Yes, so if anybody is seeing that Streamlabs message, I want to say once again, want to make me laugh on stream, submit your funniest and clean joke, meme, story, or clip here. That is a genuine form, and you can fill it out. It'll be completely anonymous, or it should be. If it's not, I'm sorry. I promise I will respect your identity and not dox you. But eventually, I want to do a try not to laugh stream. Maybe in later January, early February, perhaps? And I thought it would be a fun community night event. So if you guys would like to try your hand at making me laugh, you can submit stuff to that link. And we'll have lots of fun. Yay! Infinity says, you could say my channel is an infinite sea of the void. That's why your name is... I just got your name. Oh my gosh. Alright, we are finally moving on to the tree. We don't really have a lot of color variation in these clouds. And I want to change that. I know I just said we were going to work on the tree, but I got distracted with the clouds. Relaxing says, hi, Lily. Hi, Relaxing. It's good to see you. Happy New Year. It's been a while since I've been on a live, and you've also been there. How you doing? Oh, Infinite, lol. Yeah. We are just going to dance some of this yellow into these clouds. Just because, you know, there's yellow sunrise, right? Get some yellow in the water. Ember says, oh, hello there, new person. Legend says, hi, Relaxing. Welcome. Relaxing says, Happy New Year to you, too. Thank you. I hope you had a good 2025. And I really don't know how people's 2025s were, because I wasn't streaming for a good portion of them. But I do hope that they were good and that you're doing better. Oh, I'm in a different time zone, so when you're live, I was asleep, and my life has gotten way worse. I'm so sorry. That sucks. Send love in chat for Relaxing. It sucks when things get worse. But I'm proud of you for sticking through it and still showing up. Takes guts. Adding some pink to these clouds. Just giving a little more depth. Making them... I have the value being less 2D, but now we're adding some color to make them interestingly less 2D in, like, color and whatnot. Infinity says, hence why if I was a PNG tuber, the PNGs would be the empty husks of whatever character I'm playing as. You know, that makes terrifying sense. I can't believe I track with that. Man, I got distracted from the tree almost immediately and started doing the clouds. And now I'm doing the cliff.
We're not really going to see a lot of reflection on this cliff, but I do want some level of depth, so we're going to do our best, okay? Relaxing says, I also realize I have symptoms of ADHD. I not went to a doctor, but from symptoms I know, so it's hard for me to start work. Like I have multiple tabs of work in my mind and don't know what to do. Yeah, I am not diagnosed with ADHD, but I do resonate with that description, and that can be really hard. I hope you're able to find accommodations that work for you. That goes for everybody. If you have differences in the way that you go about life or how your brain works, I hope you're able to find strategies that help you rather than are just, you know, frustrating and make you feel more frustrated. Ember says, all the love to you, Relaxing. Yeah. Relaxing says, I like chatting with online people I know. There's like 4 or 5 people who I know on YouTube, so I like to chat with them when they're live like you. I like chatting with online people. Oh, same message. Well, I'm glad that you could stop in. I am live a little later than I was last week, and I had this scheduled a little longer than I did last week, so it works out, I think. Alright, I'm not sure how I'm gonna do the cliff texture. I'm not sure that I really need to. I think I'm just gonna go horizontal in some areas with this darker color. Break up the vertical highlights. Yeah, I think that gives a more interesting texture pattern of sorts. And then I want to kind of do a reflection of the cliff in the water. And that is going to require some extra water. Justin says, just saying relaxing, a self-diagnosis is hecking valid. You know you, and that's what matters. Yeah, if a self-diagnosis is what helps you try to accommodate yourself, you know, don't be like, I've been diagnosed with ADHD if you haven't been, but you weren't. You were like, hey, I noticed that I have these symptoms. And noticing those symptoms, it's okay to go search for, you know, strategies that are targeted for ADHD brains to see if it helps you. Like, worst case scenario, it doesn't, and you find something else. Best case scenario, you realize, huh, this strategy works for me. And you may not be able to know for sure if you are somebody who has ADHD or not, but you know what works for you little by little, just by testing things out. And if it works, it works. And there's nothing wrong with trying it. Infinity says, after all, what is a playable character if not a husk that you have control over? They might be fictional, but they are influenced by someone real. It is a bit like inverse eldritch horror. That is a fascinating take. Alright, so we have extended kind of the shadowy reflection a little bit. We're going to need a little bit of highlight on the side to balance it out. And then I use my finger to kind of brush it away. For the most part, that is what the side of the cliff is going to look like. Okay. Relaxing says, I'm not sure if I should tell you, but I'm in survival mode because of my past childhood trauma. Maybe that's why I have ADHD. I think that's why I've struggled to work to make that I can make my life better. So we do have content restrictions on what we discuss in stream. So please don't describe the trauma. You can state that you have trauma that you're working on. And I am very sorry to hear that. But please don't go into detail or describe the trauma. As this is a space where it's important to talk about your trauma in a safe space. And this is not a safe space. This is a space where anybody can join the stream and say whatever they want. But like Justin said, relaxing, just remember that healing isn't a race. It's not linear. I agree with that. And ADHD is a genetic thing. So it definitely shapes your experiences as a person from childhood on. So I wish you the best with figuring that out, and I'm sending all the love as you process that, because I know it can be really hard to process stuff like that. And also thank you for showing up and being here just as you are, and also respecting the boundaries. All of that I'm very appreciative of, and glad that everybody is here. All right. Relaxing says, oh, I'm so sorry I didn't know restrictions. That's okay, you didn't break any yet. And that's why I tell you, because unfortunately YouTube doesn't really have a lot of great moderation strategies that are like preventative. One thing I do prefer over Twitch over YouTube for is, in YouTube it's just thumbnail, text, and then live stream chat, right? That's all there is to YouTube. There's no special stuff that you can customize for anybody who's seeing your stream for the first time. They can't look and see your rules posted there unless you, like, I don't know, pin a comment at the beginning of every stream, but then that comment will go and cover other things. It's really not user-friendly in that way. Twitch allows you to have things called panels that allow you to put, like, community guidelines, and the streams I like to play, and whether or not backseating is allowed for video games, for example. So on YouTube, a lot of it is I have to make the boundary verbally first. And a lot of times it comes off as like, hey, you broke this rule, even when you didn't. I'm just letting you know, because there's not really a great way to communicate that yet. But I am glad you're here, and you're not in trouble. You didn't do anything wrong. I think we're all glad that you're here to share the moment. Infinity says, a presence from a higher reality reaching in. I know Deltarune explores that idea to a degree. I don't know the extent, though. Ah. Relaxing says, you're a very good painter. That's a very nice picture. Thank you. I am hoping to maybe get done with the majority of this painting in this stream, and then if I have any touch-ups, I'm probably going to do that off-stream. Just because I don't want to spend too much time on it. Trying to do the tree now. And this is a tree from the Owl House. If anyone is familiar with the Owl House, there's an episode in Season 1 called Frightening Grom Night. And the main character, Luce,
teams up with her rival, soon-to-be best friend, and wink wink, wiggle eyebrow, lover, Amity. They team up and make this magical tree out of their worst fears. And it's the place that they go to when they need to process hard emotions and they want connection even when they're really struggling to. And so I'm making this one because I struggle a lot to remember to connect with people instead of run away. One of my biggest, issues that I've had to work towards in therapy and out of therapy and in group, because I'm in kind of like a 12-step program sort of group sort of thing, is just embracing community and showing up and being vulnerable even when it's hard. And this tree kind of represents that for me. And so I wanted to paint that as I'm getting back into streaming, to not only have something to do in stream, but also to remind the me that's going into school tomorrow, and very likely might get burnt out from going back to school, that it's okay to show up. Even if I don't feel like I have anything valuable to offer, sometimes I need to be there with the people. It's not about what I have to offer. It's about just, we have community here and you guys matter to me, and I want to show you guys that you matter to me by showing up. And so it really is that deep sometimes. Cartoon shows and little paintings that you spend a couple hours on. I don't know. I really like the concept of just community and metaphors that remind you that you're not alone. Justin says, we are all glad you are all here, and we love every single one of you. Heck yeah. Relaxing asks, how was your 2025? Infinity says, my 2025 was a lot of gaming. It was when I properly started my channel. Heck yeah. Ember says, the painting looks beautiful, and yay, I've completed math homework at last. Heck yeah, Ember, proud of you. Well done. Justin says, my 2025 was great. For those of you who don't know, I moved to the US from Australia to marry my now wife. Heck yeah. Infinity played a lot of Copy Kitty and Silksong. Yes, they did. I can verify. About 700, was it 700 videos were just Copy Kitty or something? It was a lot. I admire your commitment. My 2025 was 2025. A lot of people will, I guess, label their years as this was the worst year, the hardest year, the most, insert superlative here. And for me, 2025 objectively had a lot of really rough moments for me. My health declined drastically and in a scary way that I wasn't sure why it was happening or how to stop it without doing extreme measures. In a lot of areas, 2025 sucked because I lost a lot of independence and ability and capacity and so much, but I also gained so much at the same time. I was able to gain this trust with my friends because despite all of that happening, I was starting to be vulnerable with people through that. I realized that I was capable of working a job and going to school, and I had sworn off teaching because it was so hard and painful, and it's not great for my health. I can't do teaching for a reason, and this past year has proved I can't go back to teaching anytime soon. But it was a beautiful opportunity to be able to enjoy teaching and tutoring in a year that
I wouldn't have gotten if I hadn't have pushed myself. I lost a lot of time to anxiety and depression and physical health issues that I can't ever get back. But I also gained a lot of perspective on life through all of that. You know, like, for the longest time, anytime I had to take a break or pace myself, it was just the worst thing ever, because of course I have to lose this, whatever this is. And this year I realized that it wasn't about losing it, it was about learning to appreciate it when I have the capacity to do it, and trusting that even if I never get to, say, rock climb again, or stream, or play video games again, or tutor, or teach, or go to school and do things in person and stuff, I got to have that experience, and I got to make the friends that I did, and I'm so thankful for those experiences. And I've got to, most importantly for me, through all of that, I've been able to see God at work in my heart and changing my perspective in these things, so that I'm not as scared and I'm more at peace with every change that happens in my life, so that when crazy things are happening outside of my work, outside of what I can control, I can still say, you know what? It's gonna be okay. You know, it may not be okay in the way that I want it to be, but I know that things will work out. I know there's still hope. And I know that having hope for the day, being joyful, choosing to show up anyways, that still matters. And so 2025, to answer your question, in a very roundabout way, it has been really rough. But it has also been so very good, and I'm so grateful that I got to experience it. And I look forward to 2026, no matter how rough or easy it turns out to be. The background music is so good. What's its name? I am so sorry I missed that. I was monologuing. Infinity says over 800. Heck yeah. 800 Copy Kitty videos. Dang. Blue Jay says, whoa, the shading on the painting looks a lot better now. Yay! I'm glad. Yay. Jay also says, I can't really remember my 2025, to be honest. Infinity says, world stuff has also really scared me for a lot of the second half of 2025. Yeah. And that's valid. And that's one of the reasons why I've made a lot more content, because the more that things happen in the real world, the more I think we need to balance it out with stuff that's completely unrelated. Because it's important to talk about that and to know about all of that stuff and to have serious conversations about hard things. And it is important, yes, to be aware, but it's also important to have balance and perspective. And so that's what this channel is about. Not just connection, but also perspective, and giving ourselves space to view the world through a lens of hope and peace, rather than the chaotic, everything is horrible and on fire lens that I am prone to putting on the world when I don't touch grass. Even when I do touch grass. Justin says, many bad things might have happened in the world in 2025. We all have each other as a community, a place to escape the burdens of life. Yes. Relaxing says, I don't know, but when I chat with my online friends I never met, I smiled a lot like you. I'm glad that this stream could bring you a smile. Because you guys deserve to experience joy and smile and feel like the world isn't so bad. Even if the world is absolutely undeniably terrible,
that's not all there is. There's also good happening. Today, I went to church and I socialized with people and I was able to initiate conversation and I was able to hug somebody and they crushed my head, and normally that would trigger my anxiety a lot because of my history with head stuff, and I was able to just kind of move on. It didn't trigger an anxiety attack or a panic attack. I had growth today, and that is a win. Guys, I might graduate at the end of 2026 if everything works, and just being able to say that is wild, because years ago I was swearing I was never gonna go back to college, and that was never, it wasn't in the books for me. I was just destined to fail everything, and I shouldn't have ever tried, and I didn't know why, and I'm about to get a bachelor's. That's so cool. Guys, I started uploading on this channel because I wanted to escape from life, and I was having a lot of really messed up relationships, and I had really bad mental health and physical health, and I have broken up with 2 of my very best friends, and it just sucked. And I started making videos on this channel, and years later, we have this beautiful community where we can communicate with each other and remind each other that you're not alone, and you're so loved, and you matter. And I think that's a really cool thing. And I'm so glad that I get to share this with you guys. Justin says it's important to know what's going on in the world, but it's also important to escape. Online friendships are real. The only difference is you haven't met in person. Yes. Amber says that's amazing. Thank you. I think one of the biggest challenges of anything really is learning to hold hope and grief in your hands at the same time. Realizing that, wow, that sucked hard, but there's also potential for things to get better as well. Choosing to embrace the possibility of hope is important, but it can only happen when you fully acknowledge the other aspect. At the same time, you can only fully experience a balanced perspective of life when you see it from multiple angles, and that includes putting it down and getting some distance. So that's for school. That's also for this channel. I need time away from this channel to do other stuff, to value this channel, because if I just only do this channel, I'm gonna get burnt out, just like I get burnt out doing other things. Relaxing says, when I'm lonely and depressed, I don't have any real friends, so I just tell myself it's gonna be okay. Mari says, hey, I'm back. Welcome back, Mari. I had a monologue. And yeah, depression likes to lie to us and say we don't have any friends. But I think depression is a punk that needs a cup of hot cocoa and reminded that it's okay. You still have friends even if you can't see them. Depression's like a toddler with 0 object permanence that has just a little too creative of an imagination, you know? Maybe that's why it gets along so well with anxiety. Because anxiety is also very creative. It's like, you know, technically this is true, but what if this thing was true? And then just going on a whole AU about what if this one thing happened.
has its benefits, its purposes, you know. It helps you prepare for the things that you can't see or tangibly experience, but same time, it's not necessarily the most accurate description of reality, if you will. Alrighty, we have our tree, we have our cliff. I think we need some leaves just scattered around here. I just need just a little bit of stuff. Justin says, if you are still here in spite of depression, I'm proud of you. Yes. Relaxing says, thank you, Justin. And then asks, in general, do you know maladaptive daydreaming? Yup. I do not have it, but I am familiar with what it is and what the experience is, yeah. It's where you kind of do extreme escapism into your brain, but it's not always got the positive effects of escapism. A lot of, like, my author friends as a kid, I think, ended up being diagnosed with maladaptive daydreaming. Because, you know, it gave them the ability to imagine those beautiful worlds and to create entire stories. I'm not saying that every single author that has ever existed has maladaptive daydreaming, but a lot of my friends growing up, that was a form of neurodivergence that they experienced. And that was one of the outcomes was, you know, they had killer stories, but at the expense of their health and being able to stop. Infinity says, ah yes, Amori. Relaxing says, I have maladaptive daydreaming. It's it all day. Yep. Now I got, you know, more paint on my brush from painting the leaves. Just gonna dab this paintbrush and get a nice distribution. Maybe put some in the water. Justin says, on an unrelated note, Wifey and I are going through a coin collection. Almost got all of the states. Heck yeah. What states are you missing? Mari says, apparently I came back to a serious tone shift. When I left, we were joking about Stranger Things. Yeah, that was a long time ago. We took like 7 hard turns like 50 minutes ago. Welcome back. I've had about 3 monologues. It's great. Right now, I'm just trying to remember how the world interacts with the rest of the world. Relaxing says, I love when you speak. I love your voice. Maybe one day I'll be able to speak like you, because I hate my masculine voice. It gave me dysphoria every time I speak. I'm sorry. That sucks.
I can't relate to gender dysphoria in that sense. I've been very blessed to not struggle with that in life, but I do hope that the pain eases, whether it's through gender-affirming care or your perspective changes or whatever. I hope you're able to find that you get to a place where you're at peace with who you are as a person and how you present to other people. Ember says, a lot of new paths were taken since you left, Mari. Mari says, gonna have to rewatch the VOD at 2x speed at some point. Yeah, how long have we been live? How long is this? Do we have... What is this? Hello? I have no clue how long. I have no clue how long we've been live. What is it? 6:30? It's 9:30. 3 hours. 3 hours. Justin says, missing District of Columbia, Northern Mariana Island, U.S. Virgin Islands, Guam, and American Samoa. I didn't even realize those were options. This is a return in the theme of I failed geography. I think one of my streams is just gonna be, learning geography. Anyone have any games to learn geography? How can I improve? Oh, I don't know how I wanted to do this. I do have to go to bed soon, though. I am going to just have to cut the rope and deal with the consequences of my painting decisions. It's gonna be fine. It's gonna be fine. One of the pros to filming this is I have a reference for what colors I used and how I got them. Unfortunately, I did not film my paint process, but I can still see, like, okay, so I layered the colors here, and this was just a combination of stuff. Ember says, wow, how time flies. Relaxing says, when you do what you love, you don't even know about time. That's so amazing. It can be good. It can also be, not so great. I am working on, like, 2 to 3 hours of sleep because I was working on a video and I was really excited about it. And then it was 3 o'clock and I'm like, I gotta go to sleep because I gotta get up at 6. And then I got up at 6. So, like, sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. Sometimes it's bad. Time is crazy. Missing Kansas, too. No! Not Kansas! Oh no, my pink. It's drying up and sticking. Mari says, ooh, you could do that one label the states and countries website. A lot of other popular YouTubers have done it. Please? How would I do that? Would you be able to share that with me somehow? That's too late. It's too late. Oh no. Oh no. That's okay. We'll just put it in the tree. Because, you know, it is sunrise. I'm gonna put some in the clouds. Make it a very cohesive painting. We're gonna put some in the clouds over here, too.
Let's go. Let's go. Okay. We're doing red and pink. Red and pink. No white. Just red and pink. Time is crazy. In Australia, where I used to live, it's about 12:30 p.m. on a Monday. Dang. All right. Well, we are reaching the end of my capacity for this painting. I'm very glad that I got to do this with you guys. Definitely an A+ on company and just hanging out. The vibes have been great and very fun. I've enjoyed it. I hope you guys have enjoyed this stream. I don't know if I want to do Sundays for good or if Saturdays would be okay for you guys. But since school is starting this week, I'm going to be doing some, or I plan to be doing some study with me streams. For realsies though, I know I said something about this several times last semester, and then I was just so burnt out I couldn't conceptualize how to do it. But I've taken the time in the break to figure it out, and I have a plan, and I look forward to hopefully seeing some of you guys or some new faces with my study with me streams. So they are going to be I think Wednesday mornings. No worries if you can't make it. I know a lot of you guys are in the US, and so that is just straight up during your school time or your work time. But hey, if you have a different time zone, try to stop by, do some study with me, and I hope it's a good experience. Relaxing says, I'm so grateful even in hard times in my life. I chat with my online friend Lily. Thank you. I'm glad that you could be here. Infinity says time is dead, meaning has no meaning. Mari says, also maybe try streaming GeoGuessr. That could be fun. Ooh, GeoGuessr. I have heard of that one. Jay says, it's been a great stream. Ember says, hanging out with y'all has been great. Thanks for the stream. Have a good start to your week all, and be well out there. Y'all are awesome. Heck yeah. Relaxing asks, would you community post next time you're live so I can come here? Yeah, go ahead. You can also turn on notifications so that you get notifications, but I will share my stream in a community post, so it's more likely that you guys will be able to see the schedule. But yeah, thank you so much for coming. I hope you have a lovely rest of your waking hours. And I'm gonna have to let go of this painting. I am going to actively let go of this painting. I'm gonna put my paintbrushes down. Y'all can see I'm putting I put my phone down so I can start drying my paintbrushes. I'm rinsing them because I have to take a shower. I have to brush my teeth. I have to do all of my night routine, and it's 9:30. It's 9:30 p.m. and I want to get up in the morning. So I do have to bail. But I think we did a good job on this painting for 2 streams worth. I worked on this for about 5-6 hours, and I am rather pleased with it. So thank you for joining me. Infinity says, or you do school online and you can vary your times. Exactly. Alright. I moved the mic. I'm now going to move the camera so that you get close up Lily. Hello. How's it going? Hello, friends. Infinity says, or you do school online and can vary your times. Justin says, love these streams. Missed y'all tons. I missed you guys too, and I love hanging out with you guys. Thank you for being here. I'm really, really happy that we hanging out. Jay says, take care of yourselves. I love you all. Love you too, guys. Justin says, gonna try for joining the Wednesday streams, maybe learn a thing or two. Heck yeah. When I say study with me, I'm not teaching. So you're gonna be doing something on your own. It's just kind of like a body doubling thing. But I think it'll be good for me, at least, to have accountability. And maybe you guys can have accountability that way too. So I'm excited for that. But in order to get there, we have to go to bed. So anybody want to start the buy train? Also, I forgot. Redeem high. You can redeem highs. We have high trains too. Hi. You can redeem highs and redeem buys. Bye. Heck yeah. It's a very, very close up. I'm sorry. Bye.